night, the vice presidential candidates met for the first and only debate that they're going to have. Somebody just said thank God. Mike Pence was praised for his presidential style. Hillary's VP, Tim Kaine, scored points for substance. So, did it help? Did seeing them help?
It helped me.
No.
I was really surprised. I was expecting Pence to kind of bore me. I thought he did an amazing job. I thought he was everything that Donald Trump has not been. He was measured. He seemed competent. He has a solid record. He went after Hillary on issues. And I had said last week, where was Donald Trump talking about the Clinton Foundation, talking about emails, talking about things I want to hear about as someone on the right? Pence brought it to the table. And I think what's interesting is Pence speaks like a conservative because he actually is one. He doesn't sound like he's trying to take talking points from somewhere. That's what he believes. Whereas when you listen to Donald Trump, you think he's the man of the moment, whatever he thinks people want him to be. That's actually what Pence believes, and I think it's going to pull...
You think he's going to run?
I think he's going to run in 2020.
Yeah,
for
sure. I am thinking.
And I think a lot, you know what, I put my hashtag last night was flip the ticket, because everyone who watched that saw that and said, you know what, this is what, you know what, agree or disagree, you look at that man and you say, this is a competent, steady, measured guy that you can trust in that kind of position. Really? Unfortunately, the guy at the top of the ticket, not so much.
I don't agree with that, but go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, I enjoyed it, but only with a bottle of wine and a pint of chocolate ice cream to get me through it. I have to say, my husband asked me, he's like, is this 60 or 90 minutes? I said 90 minutes, and he got up and left.
I was in and out. I was going to sleep, waking up, going to sleep, and I'd wake up, and Kaine would be interrupting Pence, and Pence would be lying about Trump's record. That was what I saw last night.
Well, it was highly entertaining on Twitter, because that's what I enjoy. So just some of the ones that jumped out. First of all, there was one with the Charlie Brown teacher, and it's like, I feel like I'm watching wah, wah, wah. But then Matt Fotis wrote, Tim Kaine's the stepdad who goes to all your soccer games. Mike Pence is the biological dad who shows up once and yells at you. Another, Ed Helms wrote, if you're scoring by obnoxious smirks, Pence is crushing it. VP debate. There were tons of them. I just kept reading them, and Max was like, shouldn't you be focusing? And I was like, this is what I do. And he's like, quit pretending like you're doing homework.
That is homework, though.
It's actually fascinating to see how funny people are on Twitter.
I think that Trump is probably jealous. I mean, everybody's talking about how Pence was presidential. That's my job, he's saying. I'm supposed to do that. I'm sure he turned green. A little orange, but green.
I don't think... I was going to say, though, I don't think he was jealous. If you actually look at what he... I was getting through it by watching what Hillary was tweeting and what Donald Trump was tweeting through it. And he was very edifying and very encouraging.
Edifying. So
edification.
Elaborate on his edification.
Edification.
I think he had to do that, but I actually agree that he was probably sitting back because he doesn't seem to want to ever be upstaged. And as you're watching, the first response I had is I almost was believing everything Pence was saying. Like, I didn't even have to, at first I wasn't fact-checking, I was just watching. And he does have something about him that makes you kind of want to trust him. And then you're like...
And the other reason I think Kaine kept interrupting, I could relate to it. It's like when we had Kellyanne Conway here, and she kept saying the same lies that Trump says. And you want to interrupt and say, no, that's not true. No, that's not true. No, that's not true. And you start to look like a jackrabbit, which is what Kaine looked like. But that's what he was doing.
But they need to have a better...
Because every time he opened his mouth, he could not defend Trump.
The problem is it doesn't look good because when you're doing that and you're going against someone who is measured and does look balanced, he looked rattled to me. He looked like he didn't have it together. And I don't think that helps her.
I think most people didn't feel that way. They felt that he was interrupting too much, but I think that's why they're awarding him high praises on substance.
Well, he looked prepared.
Because he knew what he was talking about. And, you know, here's how I'm going to... Here's how I'm going to sort of deal with all of it. I'm going to wait and see the next time Pence and Trump are together. And I want to see if Pence can say anything. Because the last time they were together, they would ask Mike Pence a question, Donald Trump answered it. See, it's one thing to be able to answer one-on-one like that. But when your other person is there, I want to see how they deal with you. Now, I think he's set up a run for 2020, and that was the smart thing to do, and there's no way he can defend anything, so he, you know, sort of spoke in, you know,
he doesn't want to be on record defending some of the crazy things that Donald Trump, because then he's going to be held to account. I think Trump probably was jealous, though, on that point, because I think I do. I think he's the kind of guy guy that would rather see Pence go out and do a bad job so everyone can say Trump did it better than have his actual running mate go out and score points for the team.
Right.
I don't think he's a team player.
No. Are you a jealous kind of fella? Yeah. Are you a jealous kind of fella?
You know, Pence is, people should know, if you look up his policy record, he is even more right-wing than Trump will ever be.
He's a real conservative.
And I think that his judgment is in question, the fact that he is his running mate. Right there, his judgment is in question. That he said yes to Trump.
But
Why would he say yes to Trump? He doesn't agree with anything he says. He can't defend what Trump says.
It's got to be a big opportunity for him if he wants.
He's trying to put himself out there as someone for the future to say, and honestly, I don't know if Pence minds so much that people are looking at it and saying, I want to flip the ticket. Okay. Because then people are going to be looking and saying, well, you know what, next time we'll do it right and maybe we'll pick this guy.
So you have two self-serving candidates on one ticket.
But you know what? Say what you want about him. I mean, this guy, if there was one person I wouldn't want to be, it was him. Because, because he was backed into a corner. Here you are trying to defend the indefensible. You know, some of your boss's comments, and he still maintained his calm, his cool. He was articulate. He didn't interrupt. And I think, like you said earlier, he's the one that walked away looking presidential, whereas Tim Kaine looked vice presidential.
I know, but he couldn't defend what Trump said.
He is vice president.
But he looked presidential.
Do you think they need some better writers when they have these politicians come out? Because there was a point where, and I think Pence kept calling Kaine out on, well, that was, how long did you work on that one? There was a point where he's like, don't you want to vote for the hired president rather than the fired president? And Pence laughed at him. I thought, you got to either deliver those lines a little more like human or off to the side as they leave them there, like you're going to applause after, like there's going to be applause.
Again, you know, it was interesting. It was different. You know, I didn't last the whole thing. I'm not going to lie.
No, I don't.
Do you think it'll have any effect on the economy?
I think people will be hopeful that Donald will maybe listen to Mike Pence, but again, you see how well he listened to him when they were together. So how much do you think he's going to be effective? So, but you know, we got, what is it, 119 days? How many days are left?
34 days.
Oh my God. It's going on.
It's
34.
I tell you.
Can we fast forward?
Somebody needs to win this bad boy. I've had it up to here.